Hello, and we are back to Hoi 4, Equestria War, Griffonian Empire, under the Regency Council, for this moment. But I have a feeling the Regency Council won't be in charge for much longer, because only in death does duty end. Keep moving, dogs. We're almost there, the sergeant yelled, even as he was left coughing hard enough that a metallic taste filled his mouth. The griffins had long since fallen behind, choking to death on the poison, and yet the surviving diamond dogs had kept moving. A trail of death had been left in their wake, soldier after soldier dropping dead, but they didn't care. Every bone in their body, every breath in their burning lungs, and every trembling step they took all drove them towards a singular purpose: to find the Emperor. The great doors of the throne room towered in front of them, the 20 still living dogs pushing against them in desperation. Their muscles heaved, adrenaline surged through their bodies, and blood seeped from their limbs as the doors slowly were forced open with a groan like the very doors of Tartarus. And suddenly, all was quiet. The poisonous fog receded, and all the dogs stepped slowly into the chamber and towards the light. Before them sat the Emperor, wreathed in glory of golden light. All was quiet, and the dogs stumbled towards him in dazed reverence. Removing his gas mask, the sergeant fell to his knees as tears began to stream down his face. They had done it. They had reached him. Then the Emperor's eyes opened, the light turning blinding as he looked straight at the sergeant. Loyalty is indeed the preview of your kind, dogs of Bronze Hill. The booming voice reverberated through the chamber, loudly enough that the sergeant would have recoiled had he not been frozen in spot among the soldiers. A wave of strength filled him, and the golden light reached out to touch him. You will be vigilance unending. You will be duty unstingingly. You will be punishment inescapable. Today you become the bronze custodians, and shall fear your wrath. The Emperor's voice rang in their ears as the glow encased them, stripping away their tattered uniforms and worn gas masks, leaving behind bronzed armor, thicker than any iron bars. When the force holding him in place vanished, the sergeant gasped, looking down at his paws before he looked up at the Emperor again. Bring my ministers before me, custodians, for there is much to do. The imperial cult is the new supremacist. The imperial cult becomes the ruling party, and the Emperor of Griffonkind becomes the leader of the supremacist party. And there he is, the Emperor of Griffonkind. Too bad the capital's still poisoned. But besides that, I'd say things are going pretty alright. Let's see. Okay, let's do this one, and let's, keep the pony or griffin power safe here for now. Magna Purgato. The masks are torn off the griffins of the Hersland, and countless have been found to be self-serving wretches, loyal only out of convenience. It will be drawn out, and it will be painful, but the ranks of our armed forces and our society must be purged of treason, no matter the cost. That is true. The mad savant of Gamia. Belisar Belzin, you were aware of what would come to pass when I was put into this vice, were you not? The Emperor asked the old scientist that kneeled before him. The wild-eyed old Griff had been tracked down to the basement of Gamia, where he had been hiding and dragged before the Emperor. Yet, unlike all others who had come before him, he was not struck mute, instead only cackling like a mad Griff. It came to me in a dream. I spent years upon years stumbling in the dark, and yet insight came to me. The gods granted me insight into the machine, and I saw how to make you what you are today. He stared up at the Emperor in a manic glee, raising his claws in pleading towards him. My Emperor, have you more than this? Give me only a chance to serve, and I shall make your forces the greatest in Griffonia, nay, the world. I will sheathe your warriors in armor, like any other, and I will arm them with weapons to break all that stand before them. And you, the son of the Empire, will have 1,000 brightly shining stars surrounding you. Just give me the tools and I shall conquer everything you can imagine. Make every marine in the Hersland sing your praises. So be it. I name you Archrector Dominus, and in your claws the Imperium's technology of war shall be reborn. Rise, Equestria, Dominus, Bizarre, Belzen, and tell me what you need. The machines sing the Emperor's praise. Oh boy. Amazing. Oh boy, this is woo. Now everyone's gonna die for a little while, but that's fine. Let's see, what do we, and then, well, I think it's fine to still be, purging the military for a while. I think that's a fine thing to do. Sabotage. A deafening explosion woke many of the sleeping citizens of the Empire last night, sending out a shockwave that shattered windows for miles around. Miraculously, there were no deaths, but one of our factories had suffered heavy damage. Whoever the saboteurs were, had they slipped away without a trace? Find them and kill them! No matter what it takes. Bring them to their knees. Don't let them escape again. In the claws of the loyal, not all is lost, for there are those who stayed true to the fight against the chaos, or to the fight. Yeah, there remains those that want to fight against the chaos, and those that have stayed pure despite the creeping taint. These brave and true have kept the fires of the Imperium lit, and they will define the new age. The principal project. To most, Belisar Bulzen was a mad grift. He had spent years hidden away in his laboratory after his experiments had proved too much for even Gamia. It had been an act of grace towards what most had thought it was a dying old madrift that had allowed him to carry out the Crystallitron project. When it had proven successful, however, it had changed everything. Now his deranged inventions were actually proving themselves, and his title of Archrector Dominus has overridden even the Rector Magnificus. Shuffling back and forth in front of the table, the Archrector watched as his chemicals worked on the glyph upon it. The narrow-minded fools behind him all whined and complained, but the Emperor's word was with him, and he had gotten his way at last. The results could not be more obvious, he thought, and as he saw the test subject slowly wake up, blinking as he sat up, his body was transformed. Being much greater in size than before, slabs of muscle covered him, and he rose up. He towered almost half a meter above even the tallest of the scientists. "Arm him," Belisar ordered. His assistants came up, carrying the armor that had been prepared exactly according to specifications, began to arm the knight. It all passed in almost reverent silence, like a sacred ritual. When they were done, the knight in front of them stood in armor unlike any seen before, or thick ceramics and steel plates, wholly sealed and resistant anything any regular soldier could unleash upon them. Lastly, he was given his weapon, a short machine gun, designed to fire rounds that no regular griff could handle, and yet be wielded with speed and agility. As the Emperor's our son, you are countless stars sharing the sky with him, Belisar told his magnificent creation. He looked out through the chamber, watching the hundreds of knights that lay in a row upon row throughout the chamber, all of them waking up. Welcome to your destiny, first of the Star Knights. So we have Star Knights now, wherever those are at in her thing. Star Knights. Let's see. I mean, I'm definitely gonna use you. In fact, I'm probably gonna replace the. Actually, yeah, I have a division. Goodbye, Imperial Knights. Hello, Star Knights. Yeah, I'm just gonna replace one with the other. Simple as that. And there we go. Those are 3 divisions of Star Knights. In the claws of the loyal. All traitors, malcontents, and heretics must be removed by force. No, bureaucracy. Nothing as wretched or as hated as a traitor. What is your purpose here, General? The Archrector asked as Ferdinand Downclaw came striding into the great laboratory. Preoccupied with his experiments, he nevertheless noticed the General in the corner of his eye. You're proving yourself day by day, Archrector, Ferdinand told him. From a dingy basement in Gamia, where they were hiding you away because you had tincture, but had managed to alienate everyone else, to this. The gods really favor the bold, do they not? There is only one God, and sits upon the crystal throne. I did my part. You should be out there doing yours. Why are you here? Only one God is there, Downclaw asked as he approached, dragging his claws along the table. A brave statement. His power is not that absolute yet, is it? And he only is it because of your technology. Have you made a god? And who gave you the right to choose? What are you... Balthasar was stopped from replying when Downclaw's knife bit deep into his chest. The frail Griff grabbed his assistant's claw, trying to pry the knife out of himself to no avail. I spent decades of my life serving that wrath, only to have him reanimate by your sorcery. Downclaw... And now he has the gale to deny me your enchantments? He shoved the old Archrector back, making him crash into one of the tables and drop limply to the ground. I'm done dancing with that corpse's tune. If there's only one god, it'll be one of my choosing. Downclaw turned to the table to begin rummaging around it. It all lay scattered in piles around the lab, and yet the Archrector had been fastidious about his notes. Lifting the documents from the table, Downclaw chuckled darkly to himself. Turning around, he walked past the now still Balthasar and passed by the Star Knights that had been waiting outside, nodding for them to follow him. We're heading to Cloudbury. So they're heading to the Republic with technology to create a god. Okay. Interesting. I have a feeling we're gonna hear from them again. That's a little worrying. But we do have some Travoy the Unbreakable, which is super defensive. Okay, interesting. And we have the Imperials of Imperium. The Imperium stands true, proud, and noble. The Downclaw heresy. The Imperium has proven itself rotten to the core. Not enough that the supposedly loyal nobles of the Herzland took the first chance to declare independence. Not enough that the temples proved themselves committed to only their own power, and that they all had oaths count for nothing. Treason has crept into the very heart of the resurgent Imperium, and the great Archrector, Dominus Belisar Bolzan, was nearly killed. He was assaulted in his laboratory and stabbed almost to death by General Ferdinand Downclaw, who absurd himself with not only the form formulas for the Star Knight enhancement and the blueprints for their weapons, but several hundred Star Knights as well. These vile traitors have fled north to the Republicans and seized control of the region. As if to spit in the Emperor's face, they are proudly referring to themselves as the downclaw heresy, and claim to be the mar to the Imperial's divinity. The Republicans, terrified of the reawakening Emperor, has fallen in line behind Ferdinand Downclaw, alongside countless Herzlander traitors, who would have rather thrown their lot with their heretic than face the Emperor's justice. All the sacrilege we have seen, nothing comes even close to this treacherous general and his blatant heresies. So you can become the Downclaw heresy here. Warmaster Downclaw. And they have their own tree. And they're with Mar. So they really are with Mar. Like wow. This is actually really, really cool. That there's I'll have to come back and play that guy sometime in the future. The singular genius, Belisar Bolzan, had always been an outcast, and yet he has proven himself beyond any scientist or scholar the Imperium could produce. He will show the way to a new way of thinking that will give the Imperium the investors it needs. Lies. Our god, the Emperor of Griffonkind, raises the sun, not her. I have a god king. You are not a god queen. A liar and a myth. That's what you are. I am the true Emperor of Griffonkind and the road. I'm also yellow for some reason. The cult to the machine. Yale is being recast, slowly transformed by the teaching of Art Rector's Dominus. Our learned gifts always had knowledge. It is now tempered with unwavering devotion and fanatical zeal. Science and development is no longer merely a calling, but a sacred act. Of Things That Never Happened, an interesting book that was published today, Of Things That Never Happened by Barry's Swordtail. It follows the life of a character simply known as Rospin, a Republican terrorist who has been ordered by his superiors to assassinate the Wingardian king, Gumberto. This attempt fails, however, which changes the course of history. The Empire never falls apart, and the Revolution of 978 never takes place. As Griffonia prospers, Rospin begins to question his Republican values and eventually becomes a loyal supporter of the Emperor. While the premise of the story is rather simple, the writer focuses more on the character of Rospin and his beliefs than the actual plot of the story. And some critics have even pointed out that at times it feels as if the character and the writer are the same person. Nevertheless, the book has been generally warmly received, both by commoners and nobles alike. Rospin, you say? Where have I heard that name before? I'm busy creating a cult to the machine. Bronze-Hill nationalizes imperial assets. Much of Bronze-Hill's industrial infrastructure and mining assets are owned and operated by firm based in Griffonheim. This is due to the imperial court having a vested interest in overseeing the economy in Bronze Hill for the benefit of citizens. However, recently there has been talk of nationalizing these assets, with claims of mismanagement and that not enough economic benefits remains in Bronze Hill. If this course of action is allowed to reach its conclusion, this would mean a massive loss of monetary assets by some of our leading firms. Currently, the imperial court is divided between approaching this diplomatically and issuing a strongly worded protest against our vassal, and taking a more forceful approach, which would see us deliver a militarized reminder of our dominance. We are busy with more pressing. Let them nationalize. Let's send a strongly worded protest. No. Yeah, my strongly worded protest is just saying no, bad dogs, and that's my protest. I should come in there and just kill you right now for that. I mean, how dare you disobey your emperor? Yeah, I guess they aren't Griffonkind, but still. Yeah, I guess I'm not the Emperor dog kind, but I will be. Let's see. Yeah, grab up that. That sounds good. The Imperial Core. The Imperial Core must come first. The manufacturer and the machines that keep the Empire running must come from here. All else shall come second. For if the Empire falls, all will fall. That is true. That is very, very true. What could possibly be more true than that? Nothing. That is what. Let's grab up one there, you, and one for... No. Actually, I'm just going to grab up two for support equipment. And this. Okay, that's good. Okay, now I'm going to just grab that up. The Changeling, Griffin attached, they're just here like, this is a little weird, but, you know, whatever, we'll stick around, who cares? Unto itself. They will have to learn to do with less. Nothing can impede the battle against chaos and disorder. Pleasantries and comforts that our citizens have gotten used to must be done away with, and in their humbled existence they will find purpose. Yeah, that sounds good to me. This is going quite well. We're stabilizing this, we're upgrading ourselves, we're becoming stronger. Our scientist lived. There's some sort of weird heresy up here with Mars amalgamations, but nobody came. Is that an Undertale reference? Oh, it's... When you kill all the monsters in the area, no one comes? All the sons of the Imperium, those who remain true despite all that came to pass, shall be recognized for it. For those to whom faith is everything, the Emperor is a mighty shield, and their example shall instruct their faithless kin. Yes. The loyal heroes will remain no matter what. They deserve praise and fortune. The rest, not so much. The finest soldiers of the Imperium. The Imperial shall not be shielded by words and diplomacy, but by the iron claws of Griffonkind's finest warriors. Not only the Imperial military, but the implacable Star Knights will contend with all who would dare to threaten it. The Blue Moon Festival. Today, Griffins around the world gathered to celebrate the annual Blue Moon Festival, organizing in Griffonstone. A traditional winter holiday is said to be the only time of the year when Griffins are nice to each other. Families put aside their feuds for a day and come together to exchange gifts, decorate their houses, and enjoy a delicious meal consisting of Griffin scones, warm eggnog, and gruel. Even during wartime, Griffins prefer to take a break from the fighting and are often granted leave so they can visit their homes. While sharing much in common, the celebration differs from the Equestrian Hearthwarming Eve by having religious connotations, not commemorating a historic event, and lacking theater praise. It is said the festival is a celebration of all Griffin gods and divine unity and pantheon. especially between the three main gods, Boris, Eri, and Archichus, and the other two. Over the years, the architects have tried to push the event to focus on the three main deities alone, but especially in the preferred regions, lesser deities are still venerated. Indeed, different Griffin communities celebrate the festival in different ways, with traditions becoming more exotic the further away from Griffonstone you go. In recent times, the festival's religious importance had eroded, and it is becoming a primarily cultural event, celebrating the common heritage of Griffonkind. I like to imagine that Downclaw and the Emperor of Griffonkind, they both showed up to the event in Griffonstone, saw each other, and there was just like a big confrontation there. That was just chaos. And then they went home and were like, we need to prepare. I just want something happening there between those two. Because I imagine them both being like, oh, we want to make it even more religious. We're gods, so we have to show up and show off religious significance. But I think I'm going to go ahead and end this episode now. This has been a fun one. I can't wait to see more about how this story goes. But if you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. And as always, peace.